Okay, so have you ever had one of those website revamps that just went completely sideways?
Oh, yeah.
Like where you push the new site live and your traffic just vanishes.
Yeah, like it fell off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
Happens more often than you'd think.
It really does.
Yeah,
And it's funny because so much emphasis is put on the technical side,
right.
like making sure the databases connect and all that.
Yeah.
But then sometimes what gets missed is how that impacts how people actually find the site.
Totally. Yeah, it's like launching this whole new thing, but forgetting to tell anybody about it.
Exactly, and that's where this deep dive comes in today.
Yeah,
We're going to talk all about website migration, but specifically how to make sure it doesn't tank your SEO.
right.
Because honestly, that is probably the #1 fear that most people come to us with when they're considering this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to dissect this recent article we found from Now Technology Systems.
Hmm.
They're an Australian company that specializes in SEO-friendly web migrations.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
They have a really solid reputation.
They do. It's one of those companies that you kind of go to their site and you're like, okay, these guys really know what they're doing.
Yeah. You can tell just from browsing around that they know their stuff.
Yeah. And I think their experience really shines through in this piece because it's not just theoretical.
Right.
They offer super clear, actionable steps.
Yeah. I like how they actually explain why each step is important.
Yes.
Instead of just telling you to do something.
Exactly. So even if you aren't like knee-deep in SEO every day,
Mm.
you can walk away from this article feeling empowered.
For sure.
Like you can actually tackle this. So first up, they're really big on the pre-migration audit.
Right. You got to know where you're starting from.
Exactly. It's like getting your website a full physical before you hit the gym.
I like that analogy.
You got to know what you're working with.
Absolutely.
And they break this audit down into 3 key areas.
Okay, let's hear it.
So you've got your content inventory,
Mm-hmm.
you've got your backlink audit, and then the technical audit.
Those are important, yeah.
So let's start with the content inventory
Okay.
because they make a great point that you want to have like a really clear picture of every single piece of content on your current site.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally orphan any important pages
Right.
during the move.
Because even if you're moving to a new platform, you're probably migrating most, if not all, of your content over.
Right.
And they recommend using a tool like Screaming Frog for this.
Oh, yeah, Screaming Frog is great for this kind of thing.
So for anyone who's not familiar,
Yeah.
Screaming Frog is basically like your website librarian.
I like that.
Like it goes through and it catalogs everything, all the pages, all the titles, all the descriptions.
Even down to like the heading tags.
Yes.
Which is important.
All of it.
Yeah.
So you have this really comprehensive inventory.
So you don't lose anything in the move.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So then the next piece of the audit is the backlink audit.
Okay, so this is where we figure out who's giving us SEO juice.
Exactly. Like who's talking about us online and how much clout do they have?
Yeah, because a link from like a major news site is worth way more than a link from some random forum post.
1,000,000 times more.
Yeah.
And they recommend using tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush for this.
Yeah, those are both great for backlink analysis.
And those tools basically act as like your private investigators.
Okay.
They uncover every link pointing back to your site.
Right, and they also tell you how authoritative those linking sites are.
Yes, they give you all those juicy metrics so you can really gauge the quality of your backlink profile.
Which is super valuable information to have.
It is because you don't want to lose those high-quality links during the migration.
Exactly. Those are like gold
They are.
for your SEO.
Okay, so we've got our content inventory. We know what we're bringing with us.
Second check.
We've got our backlink profile.
Yep.
We know who our friends are.
Right.
The last piece of the puzzle is the technical audit.
Okay, so this is where we look under the hood.
Yes, this is like taking your website to the mechanic.
I see what you're doing with these analogies.
You got to have them.
Yeah.
And you're looking for any underlying issues that could be hurting your SEO.
Right. Like broken links, slow loading times,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Yes, because even if you have the best content in the world and all the backlinks,
If your site takes forever to load,
people are going to bounce.
they're gone.
Exactly, and they're not going to come back.
Yep.
So you really want to make sure your website is in tip-top shape from a technical standpoint.
It's like laying a strong foundation for a house.
That's a good one.
You can't build on a shaky foundation.
Exactly. You'll have all sorts of problems down the line.
Exactly.
So once you've done your due diligence with the audit,
Assuming we've given our website a clean bill of health,
fingers crossed,
what's next?
that's when the actual migration planning begins.
Okay, so this is where it gets real.
It does, but the article does a really great job of breaking it down into manageable steps.
Okay. I'm all ears.
We're back and ready to dive into the nitty-gritty of what to do after you've actually hit that publish button on that new website.
Okay, so the site is live now.
What? Well, congratulations are in order, first of all.
Yes, congrats.
But it's kind of like moving houses, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The hard work actually begins once the boxes are unpacked.
So true unpacking is the worst.
It is, and in the world of website migration, that unpacking is all about monitoring.
Monitoring, okay.
Because what good is a beautifully designed, super fast website?
If nobody can find it.
Exactly. Or if we have no idea if it's actually performing better than the old one.
Right. It's like throwing a party and not knowing if anyone had fun.
Yes, exactly. You need that data to know if you're hitting the mark.
Data is key.
It is, and that's why this article really emphasizes setting up Google Analytics and Google Search Console correctly.
Okay, so we're talking about more than just like copying and pasting the old code over to the new site, right?
Exactly, because it's not just about transferring the data.
Right.
It's about making sure you're capturing accurate data from day one on that new site.
It's like updating your address, not just with the post office, but with every important contact you have.
Yes, you're creating a whole new profile for your site.
Exactly. So you have a clean slate to track your progress.
I like that, a clean slate.
Yeah. Because you want to be able to compare apples to apples.
And speaking of progress, the article actually says that monitoring your website after migration is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, so what are some common pitfalls that people encounter, even after a seemingly smooth launch?
Well, one that they mention is failing to update internal links after you add new content.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense because your website is a living thing. It's constantly evolving.
Exactly. You're adding new pages, you're updating old ones.
And if you're not careful, those internal links can become outdated.
It's like changing all the street signs in a city overnight.
But forgetting to update the maps?
Exactly. People are going to get lost.
And so are search engine bots.
Which is what we don't want.
Definitely not.
What else should we be watching out for?
We'll keep a close eye on your organic traffic. Any unexpected dips could signal a red flag.
So we're talking about like a sudden drop in the number of people finding our site through search engines?
Exactly. It might indicate broken redirects, indexing errors, even technical issues on the new platform.
So we need to be ready to put on our detective hats.
I love it.
And figure out what's going on.
Yep, data analysis is detective work.
It really is. And what about our keyword rankings? Should we be obsessively checking those every 5 minutes?
Well, you don't have to check them that often, but it is crucial to monitor them.
Because those rankings tell us how visible we are for the terms that really matter to our audience.
Exactly. It's like checking if our favorite coffee shop moved down the street.
Or worse, closed down.
Oh, no, the worst.
Right? So how often should we be checking these rankings?
Well, it depends on your industry and how competitive your keywords are.
Okay.
But generally, once a week is a good starting point.
And if we do see something alarming, what do we do?
The article is clear on this. Swift action is key.
Okay, so don't just bury our heads in the sand.
No, procrastination is not your friend here.
Definitely not, but that's why having those pre-migration audit reports is so important.
Right, because you can compare your current data to that baseline.
And quickly pinpoint any areas of concern.
Exactly. It's all about having that point of reference.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical side of monitoring.
Right, the data and the numbers.
But the article also highlights the importance of communicating with your audience throughout this process.
Well, that's a good point, because even with a flawless technical migration, silence can breed uncertainty.
And uncertainty can lead to distrust?
Absolutely, especially if you have a loyal customer base.
So how do they recommend keeping our audience informed?
Transparency is key start by sending newsletters to your subscribers, giving them a heads up about the upcoming changes.
It's like sending out change of address cards.
I like that.
But instead of our physical location, we're sharing our new digital address.
Exactly, and it's also a great opportunity to generate some excitement.
Oh, like tease some new features or improvements.
Yeah, turn a potentially disruptive event into a positive marketing opportunity.
I love that. So newsletters are great for the people who are already familiar with our brand.
Right.
What about social media? How can we use that to our advantage?
Social media is perfect for building anticipation. Share some behind-the-scenes glimpses of the new design.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, run some polls asking for feedback on features.
Love it.
Or even host a contest to celebrate the launch.
Make it a party.
Exactly. The key is to get people talking and create some buzz.
And make them feel like they're part of the journey.
Exactly, because they are
We are back.
ready to talk tools.
Yes, because the article mentions a lot of specific tools.
And it can feel overwhelming.
It really can.
Like you walk into the SEO tool aisle,
And it's just rows and rows.
yeah, and you have no idea where to even start.
So where do we start?
Well, a good analogy is thinking about the different types of doctors we have.
Okay.
You have your general practitioner, right? Gives you a broad overview of your health.
Right. Checks your vitals, makes sure nothing's wildly off.
Exactly.
So in the SEO world, that's your website auditing tool.
That's a great way to put it.
So these are the tools that are going to crawl your site and look for any red flags that could be hurting your SEO.
Right? Like those broken links, slow loading times we talked about.
All those things that make Google go, something's not quite right here.
Exactly. You want to address those issues before you even think about migrating.
So Screaming Frog, which they mentioned,
Yeah.
that's a good example of a website auditing tool.
It is, and it's a popular one for a reason.
And SEMrush and Ahrefs also offer auditing features.
They do. They're kind of like your all-in-one SEO Swiss Army knives.
Okay, so those are good options if you're looking for a more comprehensive suite of tools.
Exactly.
But let's say our website doctor has given us the diagnosis.
Okay.
What kind of tools help us actually treat those issues?
Well, one-word keywords,
Because no matter how beautiful your new website is,
if nobody can find it.
it's as good as invisible.
Exactly. And that's where keyword research tools come in.
Right, because keywords are still how people find us online.
Yeah, it's like trying to find a specific book in a library.
You need the right keywords to locate it.
Exactly. These tools unlock the language your target audience is using.
So we can create content that actually ranks.
That's the goal.
Okay, so SEMrush and Ahrefs.
Yeah, they're back.
They're good for keyword research too.
They are. They really do it all. But don't overlook Google Keyword Planner
Right, it's a free tool.
from Google Ads, and it can be surprisingly powerful,
Free is always a good thing.
especially for smaller businesses or those just starting out.
Okay, so we've audited our site. We've honed in on our keywords.
We're well on our way.
What else do we need to keep our finger on the pulse?
You need to track your progress.
Okay, how do we do that?
Think of it like keeping a close eye on your bank account after a big financial move.
You're looking for any, unexpected dips or spikes.
Exactly. You want to make sure everything is flowing smoothly.
So in the SEO world,
This is where rank tracking tools come in.
so instead of tracking dollars and cents,
You're tracking your website's position for those precious keywords.
right, because if our rankings tank
That's a sign that something is wrong.
and we need to fix it ASAP,
Exactly. And tools like SEMrush Ahrefs and Moz Pro.
they're back again.
I know, right? Those three are like the heavy hitters in the SEO world.
They're the ones to know.
They allow you to monitor your rankings over time,
And they give you all that valuable data.
so you see what's working and what might need adjustment.
It seems like those three names keep popping up.
And for good reason, they offer such comprehensive suites of tools.
It can be a game changer, especially for businesses that need help with multiple aspects of SEO.
Absolutely, they can streamline your workflow and save you a ton of time.
But for those who might be intimidated by the big leagues,
Yeah.
are there more specialized tools out there?
Absolutely, you can find tools that focus on specific areas.
Like just backlink analysis?
Yep. Or technical SEO, or even just content optimization.
So it's about figuring out what your specific pain points are.
And then finding the tools that address those needs.
This has been incredibly insightful.
Glad to hear it.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they embark on their own website migration journey?
Don't be afraid to experiment.
Because what works for one site might not work for another.
Exactly. And the beauty of these tools is that most of them offer free trials.
Oh, that's good to know.
Or freemium versions, so you can dip your toes and play around, see what works best for you.
I love that advice. Dip your toes and experiment.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to SEO.
So find what you're comfortable with.
And what fits your budget and your technical skills.
This has been such a valuable deep dive.
I agree. We've covered a ton of ground.
We really have. We've gone from feeling potentially intimidated by website migration to feeling informed, empowered.
And ready to conquer those search engine rankings.
Yes, and with a little planning the right tools and a dash of that proactive spirit.
You can make this migration a success.
That's right, folks. A smooth, SEO-friendly website migration is well within your reach.
It really is.
And that, my friends, is a wrap on another insightful episode of The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
We hope you'll join us again for another fascinating exploration of the digital world.
See you then.
Bye, everyone.